Welcome to our very first episode of Elevate Today podcast, where we'll be elevating one podcast at a time. Here we'll be going over tips, tricks, and stories as to how you can live the life that you are destined for. Today, here with me is a former professional fighter, the host of Talking Out My Ass podcast, a health and fitness coach, an investor, and an amazing friend whom without him, this podcast would not be possible. I welcome you, Daniel Gonzalez.
Hello, Mrs. Loxon.
Hello. I got the intro. So welcome to this podcast.
Honestly, it's awesome to be here. Like we have been developing this like in a short period of time, really. This was just like an idea and then it just kind of came into fruition. So it's beautiful to be here, honestly.
Yeah. So you're about to hit your year of doing your podcast.
In 2 weeks, I believe. 2 weeks. I'll hit a year. Yeah, it's been a long time. I made plenty of mistakes. A lot of good things happened with it, but it's just a fun process. And like that's what I was kind of telling you off air. Like it's gonna be fun. Like that's probably the best thing about this is just like talking to people, and it's just a great thing to do, and I recommend it to anybody. Mm-hmm. But it is a very crazy, hectic hobby. And
you're about to have episode 50.
I passed 50.
So you're at 52, literally.
I'm 52 right now, and then the 1 year. How many weeks in a year? 53, 54?
52.
52. Yeah, how did I pass 52 already then?
You're getting ahead.
Maybe I did a year. Oh, shoot. Oh, my gosh. I can't do my math right.
Yeah, so you've been doing your podcast every single week for a year.
Every Monday. I don't miss a Monday. Never will.
Okay, so after a year of doing your podcast, what has been the most significant thing that you've learned and your favorite thing about it?
I would say my ability to listen. I would say I was always a great communicator, but I think what people get wrong is they focus more on speaking instead of listening. Mm-hmm. And I think the podcast forced me to listen more than speaking. Mm-hmm. So I think my ability to listen more, I think that enhanced a lot, and that's what I appreciate to the podcast more, because I bring on a new guest every single time, every Monday. So it's like I am forced to listen. I can't just come in there and just speak, and like ruin everybody's and interrupt people. That's just not how a great conversation will lead to. I feel like the more you listen, the better.
Yeah, I remember in your very first episode, one of your first, you talked about the lost art of communicating.
Absolutely.
And you've had 50 conversations. Mm-hmm. Does it shock you that in these podcasts, you learn so much more about a person than you would someone that you see every single day?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, this is a perfect example of me and you. We went to Guitar Center recently, and there was 2 individuals in line with us, and they were asking, "Oh, what is all this gear that you guys are purchasing for?" And it was I was saying it was for a podcast, and the guy just kept asking questions, like, "Oh, what is your podcast about?" It's like, man, it's just 2 people talking. It's just a genuine conversation. Mm-hmm. It's nothing like a specific niche. It's just the lost art and just bringing it back one guest at a time. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that too, because I always tell you this. I don't like texting. I don't like anything form of communication when it comes to the phone. I'd rather do this. And that's why I created a platform. And you're going to notice that too, because when you doing this right now, it's a beautiful step forward to you, because you started when you're young. You're starting younger than me. So the way you learn is obviously way different than me, but you're going to gain so much and be a lot more multiple steps ahead just at the age that you're starting and doing this, because you're going to have so many different variety of guests come on here. They're going to pass on different lessons, mistakes, and it's your job to take those in and listen.
Yeah. And I think that's something that I want the listeners to know, is that our very first time meeting was a podcast.
Yes.
We didn't meet in person. We didn't go out to coffee before. We literally the first time communicating over a podcast, and the second time too. Yeah.
And every, like recently, I would say it's been like 2 months now where I have been coming over here every week.
Yeah.
Because I was telling your mom this off air with her podcast, or my podcast, and I said I'm with Hannah because she's one of the 1%ers in the world, and I don't really have a lot of those people around here. Mm-hmm. And me and you are working on some projects together. that are not going to be announced yet, but they will by the end of the year. So being able to be near you and work with you, it's been honestly, like, definitely not time wasted. You know, it's been time enhancing, if that, you know. And I'm grateful, just like even like your family, like I've only met your Auntie Susie, your father, and your mother, and they're just beautiful people. So just being near your family, and like they're part of the 1%ers, and they've always obviously molded you into that. So it's beautiful to be around you guys, honestly.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Because the first time I saw you started the podcast, I was like, dang, like I've always wanted to start a podcast. He's doing it, and you have a bunch of episodes. You're at a year, and it's funny because we've literally met up about 7 times. Yeah. 7 times we've hung out. 2 times to record the podcast, and the other 5 have been working on whatever projects we're working on. And like the 6th, 7th, or 8th time we're meeting, we're recording my podcast, my very first episode.
That's what I'm saying. Like right then and there, like you literally said 7 or 8 times is where we actually, like, those 2 were from my podcast. Yeah. They had nothing to do, because the first time I met you, I said, we're collabing in the future. Mm-hmm. And I was a man of my word, but I told you and your mom I had to get things dialed first before I'm like, hey, Hannah, like, let's do this together, you know? So think about that. In a short period of time, you set up the studio, you got your equipment, like, executed. And that's all that matters, because a lot of people don't do that. They'd rather just watch people execute. And that's the problem right now. And they'd rather just, you know, watch other greats be great instead of them being great. And you listened, you asked the questions, and you executed. So it's all to you, really, honestly.
Thank you. Yeah, it's actually interesting because I feel like a lot of people, they do want to elevate their life. They do want to make a difference and make an impact, but they don't know where to start. For me, I saw what you were doing. He has the discipline from fighting. He's starting a podcast. I need to get around this guy. This is what the stuff that I want to learn. I want to learn these habits, these tools, the things that he's doing. So going back to the question that I mentioned before, I want you to share, what are the 4 things that someone can do right now, today, to implement in their life that can help them elevate their lifestyle?
Yeah, that is a tough one in itself, because they have to be actionable. They can't be just things where, like, I think Jordan Peterson says this in a good fashion, though. I like the way he goes in descriptive about it, where it's like, make your bed, stand up straight, you know, speak very highly of yourself, so on and so forth. One of the ones that I would say is one of the main ones is to do something difficult. Yeah. Doing a difficult task and accomplishing a difficult task gives you a different kind of confidence. It really does. Like for me, my difficulty in life was fighting. Every day was hard, and going through something hard every day is life enhancing. And that's why I seek now, because I'm a former professional fighter. I'm not a fighter anymore. So that's why every day I seek that challenge, because I'm better when I'm going through some sort of difficulty. And also putting yourself through uncomfortable situations. I feel like it's very easy for us to get complacent, myself included. Don't get me wrong. I may be doing a lot of things. I may be disciplined, but there are a lot of temptations, meaning there's a couch, there's a nice TV, there's food, there's this, there's friends, there's this. It's temptations. So, but it's having the discipline to say no. And Steve Jobs, you know, would always say that. Like he's very well known of saying no, because saying no in a way just gets you multiple steps ahead. It does. While everybody's going out enjoying themselves, just say no. And of course you're going to ruin some memories. Of course you're going to get lost. You're going to lose time with friends and family, but at the same time, sometimes you have to do things to get ahead. I think that was 2. Mm-hmm. I would say the 3rd is to do something like this. It's to communicate on a daily basis with different people. We don't know everything, and I think seeking other people's insights is just a way to enhance your mindset. That's why I started a podcast, and that's why you started a podcast, because you want to learn from different walks of life. And I think that is that's one of the best ways I learned to elevate myself and my mindset. Also, I would say the last one is don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think I said this because I went through it so much where I failed multiple times. I was like the young kid, not supposed to do anything with his life. So I failed constantly. I failed when I was in elementary school, middle school, high school. Like, I did it all wrong. When I was a fighter, I failed. Like, I did so much where I failed, but that taught me everything. Like, all those failures, all those losses, like, taught me everything. And that's why I almost today look forward to a fail. Like, I have a podcast. If that fails, what am I going to do? Figure it out and adapt. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to mope. I'm going to figure it out because I'm a problem solver. And that's what we do. Same thing with you. A lot of people are just so scared to fail, but it's really, you should look forward to it. As weird as that sounds. And I know that's not a common thing to say, but it should be. Because you need to take risks. It's risky not taking risks. That's what's risky. But I would say that's my 4.
Those are solid. I love those ones. So since you're not fighting, and you say that the first one is like facing challenge, doing something difficult every day, what does that look like with the lifestyle that you're living now? What is something difficult you do every single day? Yeah,
so I think I do the complete opposite of what everybody else does. I go to bed at a very strict bedtime. What
time, Daniel? What time do you go to sleep?
6:30.
Right when I start my evening plans.
But I do. The only reason why I do that, it's so I can wake up around 2 a.m. The reason why I wake up so early is because I have a variety of long hours ahead of me where nobody is able to disrupt me. So I wake up around 2 a.m. because I have all that me time to myself. In the waking hours when everybody's awake, has to go to work, so on and so forth, I have clients, I have responsibilities, I have things that I have to take care of. But when I have my me time where I'm able to study, when I'm able to like look at research, when I'm able to read, edit, that's just me time. Training, eating, cooking, meal prepping, like I have all that time to myself. And I take advantage of that every single day as much as I can. Obviously, when I have family events, it's a little difficult, but I make the most of what I can daily. And that's a difficult task because it's not really difficult for me, but during the week, I would say I do kind of miss out on things because my brother's up. I live with my brother personally, and he's still up, and I could be enjoying a great conversation with him. But when I'm home, when I get home, we acknowledge each other, we're hugging each other, we're communicating with each other. So, but during the week, it's just very, very disciplined, and also strength training. Like, I have my own home gym that I invested in. I don't have anybody to push me. I don't have anybody to scream in my ear, oh, keep going, one more set, one more rep, yada yada. It's like I do that on my own because I like pushing myself. I like challenge. I like struggle, as weird as that sounds again. But the more you just do it, the more you crave it. Like this, in a weird way, even though this is a podcast, but it's a challenging. Conversations are challenging if they're done the right way. And a lot of people, they don't know how to speak or listen. And that's the problem. People just talk to talk. There's no purpose within the speaking. And that's the problem. Like me and you, we get better out of this conversation. We're going to get out of this room and we're going to leave better from this conversation. Every time I'm near you, I get better. Why? Because I'm dealing with challenge. A lot of people, they surround themselves with just a bunch of, like your mother said, 98 percenters. People who are just constantly doing the same thing. But people like you and people like I, it's very, very out of the ordinary. And that's why I like to be around people like you, because it's the best kind of people around, because I'm surrounded by challenge. It's the best. Like even when we worked out together the first time, I couldn't do the yoke bar.
Like the Bosu ball balance.
I literally could not. Yeah, but it's challenge.
Yeah.
The second time I tried it, I did it. Not the ball, but I will eventually. But it's just those little things where it's like, oh my God, my body's never felt this. But next time I do it, I'm gonna figure it out and do it. But it's my day has to be full of challenge where it's like, if I don't understand a word from a book, I'll literally pause the book, put the book down, and like literally research that specific word until I understand it. Get the pronunciation, what the meaning is, how is it like well said in a sentence. Even with my research or in just my editing and my clients, they all bring challenge to me. You know, like I have a personal training and nutrition business. Every client brings something different to the table. So that's for me to adapt to every single one of my clients. I can't give my client the same thing like how I give this person. Yeah. It's totally different. So that gives me challenge to be able to like research, study, and implement. Yeah. And like everything that I give to my clients, I make sure that I tried myself and make sure that it's solid. You know, I'm not going to tell them to like do this when it actually doesn't work. You know, it has to be done. There has to be meaning and purpose with everything that I do. And every day has to be challenging. Every day has to be struggle. But I know that sounds bad. Like, oh, Daniel, why would you live in misery? It's not misery. It's it makes me feel good. Like lifting a heavy barbell with a bunch of plates on it, that's struggle. I like that.
Yeah, it becomes a craving, like you said.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's the hack to getting into things that you don't want to do. Yes. Do it until you crave it. Or, you know, I say with fitness, if you don't like this style of working out, if you don't like working out, you're not doing the right style of fitness. There's so many different styles. Exactly. Keep trying them until there's one that you start craving.
Exactly. That's all it is. That's literally all it is. And the more you do it, the better it is. And it's just fun. It's just so fun to see what your body can do. And a lot of people, they don't get to see what their body can do. And that's a damn shame. And this is the thing. A lot of people, to kind of go off topic, but a lot of people see a movement or exercise as a punishment. Yeah. There are people right now who can't even walk, who would wish they could walk. So it's like, don't take your being able to move for granted. And I see that a lot, like, you know, former military personnel, how they've been into like bad accidents, you know, and they can't walk. They are handicapped. Their legs are gone. Their arms are gone. They can't do the things that they used to do. And you're sitting on your couch watching TV, not moving.
There's even people with no legs that are still doing the movement, that are, you know, learning Jiu Jitsu, that are still doing these crazy things and doing amazing at it because they didn't let any limitation hold them back. Yeah. And there's so many examples on like people doing great things. We read about it. We listen about it. It's like, why can't we do it? Why can't we? Yeah. Like, there's so many examples, but it's just like, what could we do to be that? Like me and you talk about it all the time. Like you listen to this individual, I listen to this individual. It's like, yeah, but what's the reason why we can't be just like them, if not better? Why not? Like, I'm sure they were in a different boat when they were your age. I'm sure they didn't have that mindset that you have at the age that you have right now. It's different. Like, people are just in different frequencies. Yeah. We talk about that too. And I know it's like a tough topic, but like, I mean, I have a thing with like a head coin toss with this too. A lot of the people that I surround myself with, they're not like me. They're really not. And I'm not saying that to like boast my ego or whatnot like that, but we're in different frequencies. We have different thoughts. We have different ideas. Their form of play is different from my form of play. Yeah. Like my play is my gym. Their play is partying and girls. Like I'd rather be disciplined daily, because people who are disciplined have better days than people who are undisciplined. And I feel like the 98%ers, the people that aren't as motivated or encouraged to wake up early and work out or read, it's really it is their fault, but it's like, people are products of their environment. Yeah. They're cycles. They're products of their past generational patterns. Absolutely. And that's why it's so important to fill your head with things like this podcast, with motivational information and people in your life, because then you start to do different things and change your whole cycle of habits and patterns. And that's how you change who you are. Yeah, agreed. But a lot of people, like I talked to somebody recently too on like how, they asked me if I listened to Ed Milet
or somebody else like a Gary V. I said I used to, but it comes to a point where like they're just it's very repetitive. Like the content is very repetitive, and it's more motivational than anything. Kind of like, oh man, it makes me feel good, but motivation is so it's like a quick fix. Like it's just very fast. It's very temporary. Discipline is forever.
Yeah.
And if you could harness discipline, you're fine. You know.
Yeah.
And if you're executing every day, you're fine.
Yeah. So when did you begin to execute and go after it every single day? Because discipline, you have to learn it. Something has to shift, and then it's your own patterns. When did that happen for you?
I definitely when I was a fighter. It's kind of tough because in school I didn't care about school. Still don't.
We can talk about that later.
but it's funny. Like I really didn't care about school. So growing up in school, I thought that was my form of like showing my discipline. But I had bad grades every year, every semester. So I thought I was undisciplined. I just didn't care. Mm-hmm. So and when I approached fighting, it was like a different kind of love. It was a different kind of feeling that I've never felt before. And it taught me how to show up every day. And if you don't show up every day, there's somebody else that is showing up every day and that will pretty much beat you, be ahead of you, but you can't let them do that. So no matter what, when I was an amateur fighter, a professional fighter, I always showed up to the gym. I was that guy training 3 times a day. I was that guy outworking everybody. Literally, I don't care. Like, I'll argue with anybody that I was one of the hardest workers there. While everybody was sitting down, taking a round off, I was still hitting the bag. I was still sparring. I was still doing another round of grappling. I was still lifting that other weight while everybody was chilling and getting a water break. No, like, I am not the strongest. I'm not the fastest. I'm not the smartest. I'm not any of those things, but I just show up.
Yeah.
That's the difference between me and most. I'm literally like, I'm just literally basic. But I'm not basic at the same time. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't raised to be average. Like if I am average, I disappointed my loved ones. My mom, she did not raise me to be average at all. I just found it later in life. So when I retired from fighting,
why did you retire?
Health conditions. I experienced a concussion. And I've only been concussed twice in my 10 years of fighting, but doesn't matter. Impact is impact. The brain is not meant to get hit and take impact on a daily basis. So, do I say I have brain damage? Possibly, but there are ways to keep your brain active, and I do that every day. Yeah. And if you're keeping your brain dead and stuck in the mud, of course you're going to feel those brain effects much sooner than later. But for me, I'm fighting it every day.
So when you found out you had a concussion, was it like, wow, this is the life that is involved when you're a fighter? Or was it like, you're going to have to take 6 months off and then you start to consider it? In the beginning,
when I faced my first concussion, it was like that. I got concussed, I think, on a Friday when I first started fighting. And then Monday, I went back into the gym. Like, that's not how I was supposed to go. It's so bad for you. The second time it happened to me was my last sparring session in training. And I went home and I sat on my couch and I said, this is not worth my health anymore. I think I'm done.
Yeah. What does a concussion feel like?
Like a helicopter spinning in your head. Does not feel good. It's the worst.
Oh my gosh. And do they last a long time?
It could, depending on what you do. They say if you go to sleep during concussion, you can go into a coma. So you technically have to stay up all night.
And you had to do that?
I had to do that. I don't know. I would have to look at the studies now about that, but back then that's what I did because I heard that like a long time ago. But then fighters don't educate themselves so much when it comes to brain damage. They kind of stay away from it because they're obviously involved in the game, and I did too. Every time I got hit in the head, I'm like, I'm fine, I'm good. But I left at a good age. I left at 25, 27 correctly. So I've been retired for 2 years, but one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Yeah. So what was that like from, I'm not going to be a fighter anymore. What am I going to do now? Did you have like an identity crisis when you were making that change?
Surprisingly, I didn't because I knew whatever I was going to do, I was just going to, like my mom always told me that like, whatever you do, you're going to be great at it. And It's kind of how I approached everything. Like whatever I saw, if this came an idea, okay, I'm gonna make something out of it. If I thought of this, I'm gonna make something out of it. Like ideas just run through my head, and I'm just like execute, like give it to me, you know. So no, not at all. And it's sad to see fellow teammates and former professional fighters do that, struggle, or when they do retire, they're retired for a couple of years and they come back into the game, and for what? For an ego, to be like, oh my god, to get some likes on your pictures on Instagram. Like it's not worth your health, man. It's really not. And would I do it all over again? Yeah. It was one of the best chapters of my life, but it was a chapter, nothing more.
Since I started Jiu Jitsu and the white belt, and like it sucks to be at the bottom of the totem pole, but the kind of people that you're around, it just does something. Like when I'm in that room, I get in my zone, and I know I'm surrounded by people that are motivated, that want to push themselves, that want to be challenged, that want to learn, that want to grow, and being around that's something that's so significant that the fighters experience. They're just around people that work hard. Exactly. And it seems like if you can get through that identity crisis, which I feel like is common, then you can implement those same habits, those same tools into anything in life. Just work hard every day and you'll be okay.
Yeah, agreed. And the best thing that I did was just invest in my knowledge and execute on it. Because like they say, knowledge is power, but knowledge with execution is forever. Like that's priceless. You can't beat that. Like, yeah, I get it. The more knowledge you have, like you are obviously powerful, but man, with execution behind it, you are good. And a lot of people just focus too much on information when really it should be more execution and action. Knowledge is great. I chase knowledge every single day. Every single day. From you, I learned so much from you, even though you are much younger than me. Doesn't matter. You bring so much to the table, and I appreciate that. But seek more action than you do knowledge. That's with anybody. And that's where the identity crisis comes from, because you're just trying to find what's my thing, what's my niche. But it's like, just start at something. Whatever you're thinking about, start it and just watch. People are making millions doing nothing. Like, what is this, some kid unboxing presents on YouTube, and he's like he's a multimillionaire?
That's insane.
You know what, like there are ideas out there that people just don't execute on it. Like I guarantee you everybody has that thought process of like turning something into an income and setting themselves free, but there's just no execution behind it, because like, oh, it's not going to work, or I'm scared I'm going to fail. I'm scared. It's just like, just start. That's the best thing that you will ever do for yourself. And if you keep to wait, you're just disrespecting yourself.
And that's a crazy tool that we have, like you mentioned, with social media. We have such a crazy access to so much with social media. And for right now, everyone's consuming because there's so much to see. There's so much to watch. Like we're still in the phase where TikTok is so interesting. It's not boring yet. Facebook is boring. TikTok is so interesting.
Yeah.
And it's anyone can start something there.
Yeah.
So from what you've learned, I've learned a lot from the power of social media, but what have you learned on how using social media as a tool?
To use it properly, because a lot of people are just scrolling mindlessly.
Yeah.
And like the only reason why if you find me scrolling on social media is because I'm learning something. If I'm not learning anything, you will never see me scrolling. The only reason why you'll see me on my phone or my laptop is because I'm talking to clients and communicating with my clients. I post and I ghost. That's my philosophy when it comes to social media. I don't care who likes my photos. I don't care who sees my reels. I don't care who follows me. But sometimes you have to engage with your audience, obviously, and I do give the time for that. But you'll never see me scrolling on somebody else's content unless they are knowledgeable like yourself. If you were to give me content that's going to give me something to use in my day-to-day life, I will use that. If you are showing me or sharing pictures of your butt and your abs and like you just stupid stuff, your party that you had last night, I don't care. That's useless. Yeah. That's just kind of like, what do you have social media for? I get it, to like maybe communicate with your friends, just to check up on everybody, so on and so forth. But like a lot of people just don't use social media properly, and that's the disservice they do for themselves.
I mean, so educational.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the people that it can connect you to that are in the department that you want to learn, you have so much access to
Oh,
them.
it's everywhere.
Yeah. And even taking it a step further, you can develop so many opportunities, whether it's like collabs or doing businesses together, or being like, oh, okay, I want to meet you so we could work on this project.
Yeah, like collaboration is like everything, and people just hide away from it because they're like, oh my god, like what if this person knows more than me, or they just take my ideas and like run away with it. It's like you don't know if you don't try. I mean, just collaboration is everything, and people need to get out of that competitive mode. Like me and you, we are in the same field, literally in the same field, but I want to bring you along with me. You know, you're the perfect person to have you along my side. And a lot of people don't think like that because they're not open-minded, because they think, I don't know. It's just, I haven't been in that state and that mindset for a very long time, since I was a child. So I can't put myself there.
What state of mind?
Just how the hate, the bitterness, how people look at other people when they're doing good. You know, that drives me nuts. It's like, what's wrong with somebody doing good and being happy? What's wrong with that? But now it's like, it's looked so down upon, or it's normalized. But that is, it's a very big loser's mentality, and that is sickening.
Yeah.
You know, like your mom was saying it, a perfect example downstairs. How if somebody were to look at me to see how I'm doing a lot of things in order, and they get offended by that. But it's like, why? What am I doing to hurt your life? Are you just saying all your insecurities out? The things that you want to try, the things that you want to do, you could do it too. But you rather just watch than execute. That's the problem. Yeah. Why is that so normalized? I don't know. It's society's way of trapping people.
Yeah, and I think it's also like, dang, you achieved all this. It's like, it gives you this icky feeling that you haven't gotten there yet. So other people, they'll want to bring you down so you can feel the same way that they feel. Yeah. Because it's a different frequency. Once you're on a high frequency, you're loving life, loving yourself, enjoying the moment, working hard, finding joy in hard work, then you're on a different mind process. Yeah. But when you're not, and you're lazy, and you're, drinking every day, you're not doing anything that actually fulfills you inside, you will do these things that don't make sense to give you some sort of endorphin release, or you just do it because you don't know why. And that's also why self-awareness is so important, to be like, wait, why did I feel that way? Yeah. It's usually something in you that you haven't fully developed into, okay, it's actually a good thing. You're not jealous, you're capable of that. Yeah. And that's a good way to see it, because instead of being threatened or, oh, I'm going to bring this person down, it's like, oh, dang it. Okay, can you teach me this? Like, humble yourself and learn and ask. Yeah, and everybody has the capability of doing something great. Everybody. But it's what's stopping you? Yeah. That's the big question. Like, what do you have to lose? That's the crazy thing. People think there's something like this is it. This is it right here. This life is not a practice run. Yeah. It's not. Like, you better take advantage of this. Like, right now. Like, act accordingly. And I'm very aggressive because I'm very passionate about this stuff, but honestly, like, it's the truth. Like, everybody can do great things. Everybody. But it's like, you'd rather complain and hate on other people for it and comment negative on their posts, so on and so forth. It's like, man, you could be doing this too, but you'd rather just watch and complain about it. Okay, I don't want to be stuck in the mud. That's not what I'm here for. It's not my forte. Yeah, people want to stay comfortable and see something you're doing wrong instead of questioning their self. It's gross. It grosses me out. But that's why environment is the most important thing. Like, getting around people that help you grow, that get your mind in the right place, that hold you accountable to doing good things. Yeah. Because remember when I called you that one time and I was like, I don't know how to do it. Like, I don't even know what kind of people to surround myself with right now. I thought I was going to move, and now I'm here in my hometown and I don't know what to do. Yeah. And that's when you were like, all right, we're meeting this Friday. We'll just brainstorm. We'll have good ideas and we'll learn stuff. And it's been the most productive thing ever since. Yeah. And that's the thing. I call it, remember we were talking on the phone for like over an hour. Yeah.
And you were so surprised at how much time I gave you. I'm like, why are you surprised? I was like, you are at a very young age. Obviously, like, everybody expects to be successful right away.
Yeah.
That is not the case. This is not linear. Great things take time. And if the earlier that you everybody understands that, the better off they'll be. And I'm giving time with you because you enhance me. I enhance you. It's a domino effect. Mm-hmm. We make each other better. That's the people that you're supposed to be surrounded by. If you're with another loser, you're going to be the second loser. That's the harsh truth, but that's the reality of it. There's a reason why people say the same, is because they're surrounded by the same environment. They have been for 10 plus years. And they wonder why they're stuck. They wonder why they're in the same place. It's because you choose to.
Yeah.
Really, it's just a decision. It's yes or no. Literally.
Right.
I can wake up tomorrow and say, I'm not going to do anything with my life starting today. I can easily do that. Or I can be like, no, I'm going to use every single day to set myself up. Period.
Mm-hmm. And that's why, for people listening, like, if you are in a negative environment, your 5 best friends are all not where you want to be in 10 years from now, or they're all not in the direction of where you want to be, then you either have to respectfully, like, disconnect from them a little bit more, or you can try your best to get them on the same wavelength as you, because you can. Like, people are very easily influenced, but they don't have the option. They don't have the conversations that are high level thinking. Like, yeah. I've met so many people where they're like, dang, it's so cool to talk about this. I never get asked these kind of questions. Why? Yeah. And that's what I believe needs to get normalized. Deeper conversation about what life's about, purpose, meaning, what you love to do, where you lose track of time when you do it, those kind of things. Agreed.
And as an example, I know somebody personally of mine who is in a relationship, and toxic relationship. And I'm like, how old are you again? I mean, he's the same age as me, but I'm trying to remind him of something. I'm like, you're 27, correct? Okay. We are too old to waste time. Way too old. And if you keep complaining about me with this whole relationship thing, that means it's just not going anywhere. Do you see them as your long life partner? No? Oh, then leave. It's not that simple, Daniel. Oh, it is. We're adults. Adults can make decisions for themselves. And that's the problem. People don't think for themselves. People don't execute on themselves. They just shy away from all of it. But really, your environment is everything. If you're going to a job you hate and then coming home to a wife or a husband or girlfriend or boyfriend who's just nagging you all the time, it sounds like a terrible environment from head to toe. So what do you got to do? We're all adults, but it's just priorities. People need to get their priorities in check. And like I said, this is not a practice run. This is right now. And the more you waste time, the more you hinder your future. Yeah. That's why you hear all these adults, man, I wish I started when I was your age. Man, I wish I had that mindset when I was your age, or this and that. It's like, man, that sucks that you just didn't start.
Mm-hmm. And even people older, they start when they're older and they actually end up doing amazing things because they actually start. But there's young people that are just waiting. But the options are at the tips of our fingers.
Yeah. And there's no reason why you can't do great things. That's with anybody. There's no excuse. If you're sitting on the couch and complain like you don't make enough money or you don't have enough more time to yourself, you're not prioritizing anything right. Mm-hmm. You're not using your phone properly or your laptop properly. Yeah. You know, you can just those two electronics that I just said can make you money. You're not prioritizing your time properly. Go to sleep earlier. Like, wake up early and have all the time in the world to yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, stop saying no to go out with your friends who all they do is drink every night and talk about girls or boys all day. Where's that going to get you? A good time? A quick little good time, but there's no longevity there. There's nothing there. Mm-hmm. Just don't waste your time. We are literally too old to waste time, and that's the problem. People are wasting way too much time.
Yeah, they're chasing the quick fix, and I think that's what's cool about, like, just passion. Once you know what you're passionate about, it's so much easier to get so narrow on what you need to do. Like, doing something great isn't just working out every day and waking up early and reading books. That's just specific to what you like to do. But if you're an artist, there's a way that you can make money on TikTok. If you're an artist, you can teach kids art lessons. If you promote yourself well and go to a gym, all of these parents are going to want you to teach their child how to paint. Like, there's something unique for every single person's path to what they're passionate about.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it goes again, like, why not? Why can't you? Like, it sucks to say, Hannah, but you will have family members who will look at this podcast, listen to your podcast, be like, why is Hannah doing a podcast? What does she have to say that's so important? This and that. Like, literally, like, it's so true. You know why, how I know that? Because I got that. You know, my own family and friends, you know, they'll say that. And I'm just like, why can't I? What's the big deal? I can't share my experiences. I can't share my lessons and mistakes. I can't share the things that I'm doing currently. Mm-hmm. What's wrong with that? People don't like when you escape the ordinary, like doing escape the generational curse. Mm-hmm. They want you to stay there. That's not what we do.
Yep.
I am not, like I said, we're not raised to be average. He never will be. And just watch as time goes on. When you're 23, 24, 30, it's going to be different. Your 30s will literally thank you for what you did in your 20s. And while everybody is still doing the same routine every day, and I think I posted this the other day, like, why don't you use because I was like, we're approaching the weekend, like today's Friday. I said, why don't you use your weekends to get ahead, to get the life that you want, and not using the weekends to escape the life you have.
Yeah, that's so many people.
But
I mean, we've all been there too.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been there multiple times where it's like, it's so nice to just sit on this couch and binge all this TV, but I'm getting no benefit from it. I'm not. Yeah, it's cool to have downtime, but you better make sure you did something in order to enjoy that. Literally, like, what did you do today in order to be able to like say enjoy it? Like, can you afford to sit down on your butt every single day? Me personally, I can't. Even though I do have so many avenues that I'm pursuing and things that I am doing, I can't afford to relax. Mm-hmm. Also, I don't want to relax.
Yeah, you get rid of that craving.
Yeah.
You crave something completely different, which is why you can accomplish so much.
Yeah. And it's better. I'm better when I'm productive. I'm better when I'm busy. I'm better when I'm doing something. If I'm sitting, oh my gosh, if I'm sitting down for a long period of time, say if I'm watching TV or I'm watching a movie, I'm like, I don't like this. It feels stagnant. It feels just like, oh, like I gotta get up, I gotta walk, I gotta do something, I gotta like read, I gotta listen to a pod, I gotta do something, I gotta edit, I gotta do something productive that's gonna enhance me somehow. And if I'm not, what am I getting out of it? Yeah. Like the way I escape from, say, the grind is my family. They are my time away. They're my getaway. My family always like looks at me as like, dang, Daniel never has fun, never goes out, never parties, never does this, never does that. It's like my family, that's my fun time. That's my party time. They are my escape. But it's also not I don't really want to call it an escape because I don't want to escape. Yeah. Like, in a way, when I'm by myself, that's when I'm at my best. I'm not also at my best when I'm with my family. And I spend time with those two things the most. But I need to put myself first. And I know that's selfish. I can't believe that's still selfish in 2022. Like, how, Hannah, who is the person you're with the most?
Myself.
Exactly. Why is it so bad to put yourself first? Literally,
it's
right?
funny. I just listened to something about that. Like, we are supposed to be selfish because if we can't understand ourselves and love ourselves, we're going to pour our poison onto other people without realizing it. And that's why there's haters out there.
Yeah.
Just spending time doing that because they haven't reflected enough and understand themselves enough to know, like, okay, I'm pretty cool. I love myself. Let me go love on someone else.
Yeah. And I really personally, I cannot wait because I get a little hate here and there, like messages and comments, so on and so forth.
What's the most common negative thing you hear?
It's not repetitive. It's just a lot of different things, you know, like like this one this morning was like, you're a damn fool, you know, like something like that. And I'm just like, ow. You know what I mean? But it's like for what? Like, what did I say that made me sound like a damn fool? Like, I'm kind of curious, but they're just funny. They're funny. Like the word haters, they're just funny. Like, yeah. They're nothing. I see them as like, not even sheep. It's like lower than that, you know, because there are sheep and there's lions, but they're different. There's I don't know. It's strange to me to be put in that mindset, because I just want to lift people up. I just want to make sure my presence makes you better. But there's other people who are just like brag and gossip. But it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's the ego, which consumes you. And once it does that, it has control.
Yeah.
And it'll just end up boasting about yourself and bringing others down.
Exactly. But why? Winners really don't have time to like bring other people down. They just don't. Losers do. Losers have all the time in the world because they're not doing anything productive in their life. So, kind of makes sense.
Okay, we understand them now.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I don't blame them. I don't care for them, and I don't blame them for it, because realistically, they're not doing anything. And all they're doing is watching people be great. That's it. Like, you see like these guys on the couches, like watching UFC fights or watching NFL, like, I could have done this, I could have done that. No, you couldn't. You're sitting on your couch right now watching people do it. Literally. It's like, dude, like, know your place and stay in your lane. Don't talk. If that's the thing, if you're not, I get that all the time. Like I was telling you off air too, how people like critique my podcast on how to do my podcast. I'm like, dang, dude, you don't even have a podcast. How am I supposed to take critiques from you? Literally, how am I supposed to take critiques from you? How could I? The audacity that you have to just even tell me that's stupid. That's dumb. But that's just the small-minded individuals that this world carries. There's only a 1 or 2% of us.
You are so rare. Like, people don't stay that disciplined from the mind and the body and financially. Like, you are one of the few that are doing what you're doing in every department, and that's why you're so perfect for Elevate Today podcast. Like, it's all about growing and elevating.
Yeah. You said the word perfect. It's progress.
Okay.
Like there's
progress.
No like I care less about perfection. Like period. It's progression.
Right.
That's what I do every day. Progression. Like forget perfection. I know that's like a thing that's like, oh, I'm not going to start this until it's perfect.
Yeah.
Like you said this off air. I still have to do a couple of things to make it like perfected. I would say that word. But your starting is the difference. Big difference. Everybody is just waiting until I have the perfect camera. I have the perfect gear. I have the perfect laptop, the perfect studio. Hannah, you're not even finalized yet, but you're starting. It's the same way I started my podcast. Nothing was finalized. The only difference is I started and you started. And them, they're still waiting. The more you wait, the more you hinder everything you're doing. Period. End of story.
End of story. But as we talk about, your discipline, your growth, your motivation, what do your lazy days look like? Like your lazy moments, when you do drink, when you do go on vacation, like how do you find your balance or really learn to enjoy yourself while you're partying with your friends, but also getting back on track when you have to show up the next day? How do you find that balance?
Well, it's funny how I'm still disciplined while I'm drinking. I'm still disciplined while I'm eating. I'm still disciplined while I'm like with my family. Like say for drinking, for example, I never get hungover because I'm hydrating like while I'm drinking. The reason why like people get hungover is because they're having sugary drinks, so on and so forth. Like me personally, I've never had an alcohol beverage where I was like, oh my God, this is delicious. Alcohol is alcohol. It all tastes like crap. So for me, my lazy days, I would say, it was when I went with my family. Like this weekend, I would say I'm gonna go see my family. We're gonna barbecue at my mom's house, watch some good UFC fights, and just chill. But I'm not doing anything drastic. I'm not over consuming all this food, and I'm not stuffing my face with cookies every day. It's like I'm not like, my lazy days are still somewhat active and like, because they're surrounded by love and passion and energy, like it's almost like there's never any lazy days because they're still productive. There's activity involved. There's still movement involved. There's still like communication involved. So there's never any lazy days really. But I would say, I know what you mean. Like, like when it comes to food, when it comes to drinking, when it comes to, eating out, I will do that because my behavior towards those things is intact. A lot of those people that are dieting, I hate the word dieting. So what are you dieting from? Like, what do you mean? Like, why is food is the enemy? It depends on if you overconsume it, and if you're like, consuming ultra processed foods, which is like, obviously we know the negative side effects of that. Even for myself, like I used to like overconsume sugar, and that was terrible in itself. Like I would notice my body inflamed. I was like, oh my God, like I'm destroying myself right now.
Do you want to share what you would get from Cinnaholic?
Oh yeah, I would get. So
this is the most unbelievable thing about Daniel.
When I was my last professional fight, I would get every single day, because I thought I could eat this because I was burning enough calories. I was gonna call it two Cinnaholics. What is it? How do you call it? Cinnamon rolls. 2 cinnamon rolls, 2 cookies, 2 brownies every day.
That's insane.
Like Monday through Friday. Like bad. And I actually took pictures of like how I wanted to show you. Remember like that time we were talking about on the car? How my body was back then and how it was during that time.
Yeah.
Literally just doughy. Like no muscle definition, just inflamed. Like I destroyed my body. But you pay the cost, and like I don't want to. I saw the negative effects of it. That's why you transform yourself. You're like, oh, I can't do that. And I also don't want to, because the more you educate yourself on food, nutrition, lifestyle, you don't want to go back to that, you know? And like when I see my friends and family destroying themselves slowly, it makes me sad. But something that your mom was telling me is like meet people where they're at.
Right.
You can't really tell people what to do. You just have to meet them where they're at.
Yeah.
And me, I'm just going to live by example. People gravitate towards it. Awesome. If they don't, cool too. But yeah, it's all pretty crazy. And nobody ever regrets getting their health in order. Nobody.
Right. And it's funny because you were a professional fighter eating like an idiot. And that blows my mind. And that's just the truth. You're a professional fighter that wasn't eating like a professional fighter should. But I've learned, and I'm starting to realize that health, like holistic nutrition, metabolic health, and fitness are actually 2 different worlds that you think are one and the same. But people are like, oh, I could burn it off. What is that going to lead to inflammation though? Just like you. Yeah, you could burn it off, but that's still inflammation, really throwing off your gut, really throwing off your metabolism. And that's one of the things that are just so important to debunk about health is it's not just quantity. It's so big on quality.
Absolutely.
Like it shouldn't be a normal thing to go out to fast food, soda. Like if you're drinking soda, it should just stop.
Yes, agreed.
Going out to all these junk food spots is a normal, like a once a day. No, that's poison.
Yeah. I had a client recently tell me like, oh, can I have a cheat meal? And then there was a couple that I was working with. They were married. And I was FaceTiming both of them, and they asked me that question, like, "Oh, when is the day we could have a cheat meal?" And I asked both of them, I was like, "Would you cheat on each other?"
You said that? Oh my gosh!
But it's facts though. Like, if you were gonna take a test, a real test, like when it comes to like a test, like a certification, or to get your driver's license, or to get your pilot's license, would you cheat on that test? No. Would you cheat on your partner?
Nope.
No. So
the common sense isn't common sense anymore, because I say no, but other people wouldn't, because we're living in crazy times.
Agreed. And that's the sad part, where it's so normalized, where it's like, oh my God, like there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with this. But it's like, man, show discipline in everything you do and you'll be just fine.
Yeah. Literally. Have integrity, have morals. Shouldn't be rare. But that's why we're doing podcasts, because things that shouldn't be rare are rare. Yeah. Things need to be exposed as facts, as truth. Like, this is what is right. Take it or leave it. It's an opinion, but nobody deserves to get cheated on cheat on their diets.
And that the things that we do, that should not ever be rare. That should be the most common thing everybody should be doing. But I don't know. I want to really go back in time and like, what happened? What triggered everybody's like mindset, and like the people who are the 1% and the 2%, like what made them make that switch? But I learned it's just a decision. Literally a decision. Like, you can choose to be sad, you can choose to be happy. It's a decision. Period. I've been happy before. I mean, I've been happy before, I've been sad before, I've been angry before. All these emotions. I remember, say, if I was dealing with a bad day, literally, like a family incident that were to happen, couple of hours I'm good because I made the decision. Like, I'm okay. I'm good, right? I'm in health. I'm breathing. I have clothes. I have food in my belly. I'm fine. I'm good. It could be worse, but I don't know.
No, it's funny you say that. Like, when did that change in time happen? And as I was thinking about it, just even in different countries and even now in America, we're just consumers, and we choose a lifestyle that will lead us to destruction. But where that actually happened is when we were given the choice to.
Yes.
Because way back when, someone didn't have the option to not work. Parents didn't have the option to not be there for their kids. That was the only option. If you didn't show up to work, your kids weren't eating, so you had that instinct to do it. There was no like, oh, I don't want to work. The men worked hard jobs, period. And they wouldn't complain about it.
Yeah.
And it's as soon as we got all of these options, all this access, which is funny, we're given tools and we're given access, yet we choose wrong.
Yeah.
They start having convenient fast food and we're like, oh, let's choose it. But they were living better 50 years ago.
They were.
The life my grandparents were living was better, even though there was more struggle. It was wholesome. It was about love. They were together. It was about family, good values, good morals. And when you're given the option and you choose wrong, like, that's what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah. Like, so many people, they take their families for granted, for instance. And it's like, man, how could you do that? Look at your, preferably parents. Like, how could you ever disrespect? Like, I was telling somebody close to me, his phone was taking it because he was being a bad boy. And I'm like, dude, don't ever disrespect your ma, ever. And I was like, even your sisters, don't ever disrespect them. I was like, you're a boy if you do that. You consider yourself a man, right? That you're a boy if you disrespect your queens. Like, be mindful, because how you treat your mom, how you treat your sisters, that's how you treat your girlfriend. That's how you treat your wife. Treat your queens correctly.
Yeah, and the girls will respond. They'll get disrespected, and it won't be worth it.
No, absolutely not. No way. But even that too. But that's where the lack of communication comes from. The lack of the lost art of communication, where people just don't do it anymore. Their form of communicating is via social media now, via video games, Snapchat. It's like
texting.
I'd beat this any day. I'm still that old soul, that old school guy where it's like, man, I'd rather have face to face, eye to eye, food to food. Like, we're like, just imagine this. We had like, a good like size like water, like how I have in like some food on the table. Like, this how it's supposed to be. This is how me and you conversate on a daily basis. But now it's just publicized. Now it's just out there, because people need to understand. Like, people need to know, even though it's out there, but your group of circle, my group of circle may not. Maybe they might click this podcast and be like, oh my God, like, it was so informative. It had this information that I didn't really take into like look. But like, literally, you'd be so shocked how one little episode can like help somebody.
Yeah,
that's something I learned with doing a podcast. I have strangers reaching out to me more than people I know personally, and just literally saying thank you. When I feel like I'm like, personally, I'm just having a conversation, but to people it's rare. And I'm like, that's crazy to me. I'm like, how, like, it's almost like I want to tell those people to come on my podcast to like get that skill
just
in.
To hype them up.
Yeah, just like to literally wake them up. I'm like, man, do you have family? Like, I would ask them, like, do you have brothers, sisters, mom, parents? Like, you're like in good cahoots with them? Go see them. Go communicate with them. Throw the phone away. Take them out to dinner. Talk to them, spend time with them, quality time with them, because there's a difference between being there and they're there. But nah, they rather not. Then you'll be awkward when you want to go on a date with a girl, because your communication skills are not there, or so and so forth with a girl. The girl won't have any like confidence going to like talk to a man because she's not communicating on a daily basis. But you have to put yourself in those situations. That way you're like, that's the thing. What I learned, you could put me in any room with a different group of people and I will fit in fine.
Right.
Because I have met a ton, a variety of people, and every interaction that I've been with people, it was easy. It was like natural. Like, I've known them my entire life. Same thing with you. When you came on the first time on a podcast, it's like I knew you. Second time, same thing. And then the third, after all these hangouts, I feel like I've known you my entire life.
I feel like I've known you forever now.
That's what I mean. But like how many interactions there you said? Like 7 or 8?
Yeah.
But I said this, I think on our 4th or 5th interaction. I said, you will be one of my closest friends. Mm-hmm. You will be one of my people. You know what I mean? That's like, oh, I got Hannah. Whatever she needs, I got her. You know what I mean? Like this podcast, like I was like,
you did everything.
Like I, but like I was, I'm the guide, but you're the executioner. You know what I mean? I'm just the guide. Like I'm not the one telling you how to like host your show. Just imagine if I did that. That's me doing everything.
Yeah.
But you're dictating the conversation. That's what makes a good host. If you had me do all the work, that's me doing everything. I didn't do anything. I just plugged in a cord.
He did everything. He literally did everything. I've wanted to start a podcast for years now. I've been saying it since I was a teenager. Yeah. It's been such a burning passion on my heart because there's so many things that people need to know. And I meet so many people whose story needs to be heard. But in 3 days, 4 days, 4 times meeting, you've literally turned one of my biggest desires and dreams into reality. And I owe you the biggest thank you. Like I will forever be grateful. I will never, ever, ever forget the process that you put me through the past few weeks.
Yeah, it's only been a short period of time too. That's what people don't understand. Like for me, when I was doing it, I had nobody to help me. So it took me a long time. It took me months to like, oh my God, what cord do I need? Oh my God, what camera do I need? It was a tough process, but like, I'm happy to pass on what I know because if I didn't, I'm a loser. If you asked me, Daniel, I need help setting up a podcast. And I was just like, yeah, I'll get to you when I'm free. That's me. That's me being a loser. Mm-hmm. Like really, because if you don't share, if somebody wants to start a project and if you know how to help somebody to do it, why can't you do that? Why can't you help them? It's easy. What did I do? I literally was just like, Hannah, this is how you plug into this cord. This is how you press start on the thing. This is how you connect this. This is the angles. This is that. It's not hard. It's just ask, execute, then it's good. Just watching this podcast goes up and then watch this every other week. Mm-hmm. That's what I can't wait to see. Like every time when I'm subscribed to your podcast and I see when that day comes when it's published, oh, new episode. Oh, new episode. Oh, and it just keeps piling. Because you're going to get to a point too where you're like, oh my God, I'm on episode 426.
Dang.
It's going to get to that point. But that's where the podcast, like a podcast is your baby. This is your baby. How you show up for it is how you will show up for everything. Because when you make your own project, there's nobody else behind it. You get to test, you get to see what you are capable of real quick. And then once you understand, I can create, I can build, I can do this. I'm like, what else could I do? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where it comes like contagious. Like, let me reel it in. Like, what else could I do? That's why I'm going into so many things that I have no experience in. How do I get experience in? By doing it. Did I have any experience in a podcast, technology, or producing? No. I learned how to do it by doing it. It's the same thing when I was in college for a college class. I was in college and the college professor never started a business his entire life. Literally. And I asked him that, you've never started a business in your life? He said, no, I have not. Why am I in a business class if you've never done it?
That's
like I have more experience.
Common sense.
Yeah, but it's like I have more experience than him. And that's crazy to me. But what I don't know. It's a tough boat, but it's the progression and like what I see in you, and like I just can't wait to see you get older in this. That's what I can't wait to see you. Because I think when you came on, I was like 26. So it's like I've known you for over a year. And it's great. It's great to like be able to see that when you start to change more of your studio, when you start to get these lights, when you start to get these crazy guests, when you start to fly to people, because that will come.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great to be like letting your audience know, oh guys, I'm taking it on the road. I'll be documenting the entire trip. Plus you'll get the podcast at the end of the video. Mm-hmm. It's like, come on.
That's just so fun. That's as fun as it gets.
Like How could it be like one of the best things in the world is communicating with people,
Mm-hmm.
learning from people. You know what's weird? When people say, I hate people. That's weird.
Yeah, and that's kind of a trend. Like they'll just memes, they're just like done with people. Like,
But why? Because one person hurt your feelings out
Yeah.
of the entire population? Like, grow up. Sorry, I'm getting aggressive again.
I tell you, you always do. You have an intense way.
I'm too aggressive. Oh, goodness. Jesus.
I love it.
Man, we've been going for an hour and 5 minutes.
I know that was the goal.
Dang, dude.
Right?
That was quick.
That was our very first episode. We
like,
did
really
it.
Smooth. Literally hella smooth.
Well, if I could leave you with a question or a
Please.
statement. If there's someone listening and they're eager and hungry to get somewhere in their life, but they have no direction, they don't have a lot of passions, they feel kind of hopeless, but they got excited listening to this, what would you want to tell them?
I would say eliminate all the distractions, eliminate all the liabilities in your life, and surround yourself with people who are better than you. That's the best thing that you can do. That's the best thing that I've ever done. That's the best thing a lot of successful people have done. Surround yourself with people who are better than you. Pick their brain. Ask a ton of questions. Listen more than you speak. Execute every day. Show discipline every day. Show up for yourself every day, and you will be fine. Everybody who shows up for themselves every single day will be successful, period. Change my mind.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Daniel. I love doing this podcast with you.
Hannah, honestly, thank you so much for having me. Like, I can't wait to see the growth in this podcast, and you're going to do amazing things.
Thank you so much. All because of you. Yes. Thank you. That's it.
Bye.
Bye.